Abawo Aboru Boye Ẹ̀yin babaláwo Èèyàn ìbọrù Boye Oyan.
Hey, good morning. Just good to see y'all. So we want to begin with morning prayers. This is Idin Kai Fatempo. I'm a Lord for Kolade. Sure. Mojuba Olorun, Mojuba Leta, Mojuba Olorumare, Mojuba Bobo Romale, Mojuba Bobo Male, Mojuba Bobo Egun Tembile Solorumare, Mojuba Shungwade, Mojuba Guade, Mojuba Fragadamas, Mojuba Tom, Mojuba Flori, Mojuba Pala Corriente, Mojuba Felipe Saloeto, Mojuba Gunjobi, Mojuba Mia, Mojuba Shamala, Mojuba Shalanko, Mojuba Mishona De, Mojuba Shubi, Mojuba Ba, Sedimana Fuma the first. I won't Baba, Tie Baraku. Mojuba to all of our elders. Mojuba to my mother, my elder here, Catherine Edmonds, my father, Robert Edmonds. Mojuba to my Baba Ifa, Solagbere Popola. Mojuba Oluola Irawo Ifa. Mojuba Oluwo. Mojuba to all of my teachers. Ogundei. Mojuba to Jose Rodriguez, Agbola. Mojuba to all of my elders and spiritual teachers who have assisted me along this way. To Fashina Falade. Mojuba to Babaji Latosisa. Mojuba, Hashem. We call on you for your support and elevation. Ejiogbe, he who hears people's pleas and accept the pleas. He who hears people's pleas and approves the pleas. He who talks to and shows the talking is completely absorbed. He who hears people's pleas and accept the pleas and then be fine. He who hears people's pleas and approves pleas, the name shall die. He who talks to people and shows the talk is completely absorbed is the name Orishanla. Orishanla, you're the person amongst human beings. Person amongst one cannot fail to impress one. Strike frog is when summons rainfall. Bullfrog is the one who summons downpour. It is whatever the Akireju point to you tells earth, whether earth accepts. Whatever the big rat tells earth, what earth accepts. All what I tell you, Father, please accept them and improve them. I share. Oh, Terete. To show gratitude upon gratitude is the of our gratitude. To display benevolence upon benevolence is the of our benevolence. Whoever does not show gratitude for yesterday's benevolence, such a person will not receive today's gratuity. These were the declarations to the former order of Rumaland. When going to marry Opoe, daughter of Fuji, I am grateful I see my gratuity. I'm grateful for yesterday's favor. I see today's gratuity. Oh, to Rete, we're very grateful. Ashe. Awa dupe, awa bore. Awa dupe, oh, awa bore. Adupe. Aláwọ̀ òbòrè kò nẹ́bọ̀ Olódùmarè àwa dúpẹ́ àwa bòrè àwa dúpẹ́ o àwa bòrè àdúpẹ́ aláwọ̀ òbòrè kò nẹ́bọ̀ Olúyẹmí àwa dúpẹ́ àwa bòrè. Àwa dúpẹ́ o, àwa bòrè. A dúpẹ́ àná o, àwa bòrè kò nẹ́bọ̀. Irúnmọlẹ̀, àwa dúpẹ́. Àwa bòrè. Àwa dúpẹ́ o, àwa bòrè. A dúpẹ́ àná o, àwa bòrè kò nẹ́bọ̀. Lẹ́gùn lọ́rìṣà. Àwa dúpẹ́, àwa bòrè, àwa dúpẹ́ o, àwa bòrè, a dúpẹ́, àná àwa bòrè tún nẹ́bọ̀. Olódùmarè, the divinities, we have given thanks for all that you've done. We ask that you would forgive us. Counted yam without soup can be very difficult to consume. These were the declarations of Vipa, the child of Agbeneregun. He was full of bad character. He whose bad attitudes had prevented him from entering Tipa's domain. Now we've come to solicit on behalf of Tutu. We've come to beg on behalf of Tutu. Father, please be patient. Overlook this supplication. Those who beg on behalf of Tutu. How many children does Ifa have that he would cast from us? Those who beg on behalf of the Tutu. Orumila, please. Ola Damari, please forgive us. Forgive us for anything that we've done wrong. Forgive us for any taboos that we might have broken. Forgive us for doubting ourselves, doubting you, doubting any of this process. We ask that you would remove any transgression. At this time, we ask that you would support us by warding off death, warding off sickness, cases, controversies, ward off fights, litigation, losses in our fights, ward off witchcraft and negative energy from us. Bring to us long life, good spouses, good children, peace of mind, settlement, stable home, victory. Help us to see healing this year. Help us to see elevation this year with this new Yoruba New Year, Ifa New Year. Help us to see transformation. Ashe. Oh, Belara. Rumla says it's time to sleep. I echoed it's time to sleep. When the day dawned, I met a Rumla in the 16th room, where he covered his head with a flowing gown full of lice. He was wearing a dress full of bloodstains. He was snoring heavily. They told him that a delegate from his disciple arrived. The Rumla Quadabo at the delegate had brought, they told him they brought 2 rats swift and running, 2 fish graceful and swimming, 2 birds swift in flight, and 2 goats with big livers. Rumla said that is not enough to wake him up. I admit my ignorance, please educate me. Motuna Karaba, I hide myself in your bosom and survive. Motuna Karaba, the dog king masqueraded visa Agbadron repeatedly. The dog king masqueraded visa Agbadron repeatedly to perform rituals because of children. You are the leaders, we are the followers. Leads are the ones who show the followers wisdom. Arula told them to get alligator pepper, to get cola nut, to get bitter cola nut, to get alcohol. The Akapo got the alligator pepper, he got the cola nut, and the bitter cola nut. Is now that you're fully awake. Arumla, when you're fully awake, please look at me with your eyes of compassion. It is with eyes of compassion that the heavenly stars use to look at the stars below. Arumla, when you're fully awake, please look at me with your eyes which help one to secure great wealth. It is such good eyes that the heavenly stars use to look at the stars below. Arumla, when you are fully awake, please look at me with your eyes which help one to secure a good spouse. There's such good eyes my spouse would use to look looking at me with. Arumla, when you're fully awake, please look at me with your eyes which help one to bear many children. It is such good eyes a child should use than looking at a well-decorated plate. Before long, not too far, join us in the midst of all Ire and life. Ifa, please hear all of our prayers. Please remove these challenges from us, and in its place, bring to us all the good things of life. We call on the Odu Oshe Aruela to give Ashe to our prayers. Oshe, Tura, tiny are the feet of Tubu. The stripe of a chameleon is not big enough to abuse its headgear. Had it been enough to abuse its headgear, I would have taken it home and done my head with it. These we 5 decorations to Aruela when going on a spiritual mission to Jerusalem. We call on locusts being sung and pay her money. We call on the salt tiller and make her rich. We call on Oshe Aruela. Oshe Aruela is a good awo. Oshe Tra at Kikini Bagisa. The axe strikes sharply against the tree. Castify for Arumla when he used to receive Iba and Ashe from Olodamon. If an award is to be wealthy. Kikini Bagisa, the mouth of an award, Zaziba and Ashe, and the mouth of an award. Ifa, please help us to be victorious. Kicking it back this time, the mouth of the novel is I keep on Ashe, the mouth of the novel. If no one tells you, you should have all the good things of life. You should truly have all the good things of life. Kicking it back this time, the mouth of Ziba and Ashe, the mouth of the novel. Torah sing, maybe so, surely shall it be. Ashe Orisha lẹ́nu mi o, Ashe Orisha lẹ́nu mi. Bọ́bọ́n tí mo bá màmá wí o, ìrúmọlẹ̀ ò bá. Ifa ọba o, Ashe Orisha lẹ́nu mi, Ashe Orisha lẹ́nu mi o, Ashe Orisha lẹ́nu mi. Gbogbo tí mo bá màmá wí o, ìrúmọlẹ̀ ọba. Ifa ọba o, Ashe Orisha lẹ́nu mi. Bí mo ń dúró, tí mo ń súre, bí mo ń bẹ̀rẹ̀, tí mo ń súre, bí mo ń kúnlẹ̀, tí mo ń súre. Bí mo jókòó tí mo ṣúre, ire tí mo sùn orí ti bọ́. Bí mo dúró tí mo ṣúre, bí mo bẹ̀rẹ̀ tí mo ṣúre, bí mo kúnlẹ̀ tí mo ṣúre, bí mo jókòó tí mo ṣúre, ire tí mo sùn orí ti bọ́. Now if we can put our hands on our oris. Our ori is our good luck charm. Ifa, support us. Ori ani larure ani o, ori ani larure ani. Mojulo mi ufawa mori, ori eni larure eni, ori eni larure eni yo, ori eni larure eni. Mojulo mi ufawa mori, ori eni larure eni. Bobore chasu, ifa oba lorun, àti bàtájú, ifa oba lorun. Ó ṣe àrù ìlà ifá ti bọ́. Bobore chasu, ifa oba lorun, àti bàtájú, ifa oba lorun. Ó ṣe àrù ìlà ifá ti bọ́. Olodumare and the divinities, we've come, we've given thanks, we've given praise, we've asked for our forgiveness, we've asked for the things that we need in this life. Please come and support us. Continue to ward off death. Continue to ward off sickness, cases, controversies, ward off fights, litigation, losses, outright fights, witchcraft, and negative energy. Bring to us all the good things of life: longevity, prosperity, healing, joy, success, everything. Bring it all to us so that we can elevate and also find, follow, and fulfill our destiny. Ashe, Aboro, Aboye, Aboshishe, Aboto. Thank you all so much for tuning in. This is Oluo Fakola Day of Idinka Ifa Temple. We have so many positive things to share for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in with us. Before we even begin, I want to send some thank yous and some shout outs to many of our members who have, been steadfast in supporting us, and also our teachers, of course. I want to say a thank you to my parents, Robert and Kathy Edmonds. Respect. Thank you to you. I want to say thank you to my wife, Taylor. Shout outs to my sister, Awujola. Thank you for your support. To Maritza Clay. So thank you so much for all the things that you've done. She's the one who has designed our Ide and Eleke for the temple. I want to shout out to Emmanuel, to Ia Ifadara, to Denise Mendoza, to Miss Susanna, to Jax. I want to shout out to Zayden, to Annette Phillips. We want to send so many shout outs and blessings to them. To Tonda Sizwe Shamaringa for always standing firm and supporting us and in all of our exploits, and also womaning the audio-visual process. We have so many people to thank and think of. I want to thank my Baba Ifa, Shalagbere Popola, Olunla Irawifa, Agbola, Jose Rodriguez, Jejiola. We have so many people to thank and to pay homage to. In terms of that, we want to also give thanks to Almighty Olodumare. We want to give thanks to Almighty God for supporting us this day, particularly. Before we begin any level of discussion, I want to sanctify and protect this gathering, and also remind any of you to like and share this. So we're streaming live on Facebook, on YouTube, Instagram. If you like what we're doing, please like and share the love. Olodumare, please continue to support us. We ask that you would help us to gain a deeper understanding of what it truly means to be Omoluabi at this time. Please ward off death, ward off sickness, cases, controversies, ward off fights, litigation, COVID-19, cancer, AIDS, diabetes, high blood pressure, hypertension, all the things that are linked to all of those challenges. And in its place, remove poverty, remove bad attitudes, remove negative energies of envy, lack of success, and challenges. Bring to us long life. Give us good health. Give us peace of mind. Give us clarity of thought, clarity of action. Give us confidence and also love of self. Help us so that we'll have the mind so that we can have the money that we don't have at this time. Help us to have a mind and an attitude so that we can have the spouse that we might not have at this time, to have the home that we don't have at this time. Please help us to transform ourselves a little bit, because Irumole, the Orisha, do not make the world better for us. They make us better for this world.
Okay.
Help us to truly be able to fit within the confines of our destiny. Emma kame mene amo, Emma kame mene ano, Emma kame mene adelokun, tamole tori fa loni mi, ebora timpanini, eni banami, ati fa lelejo. Ashe. All right, y'all. So this is big. We want to talk about Iwa Lewa, character is beautiful. But just aside from that being some cool catchphrase, what does it mean to have good character? And what does it mean to live in an aspect of good character? I wanted to say that it's not about being weak. It's not about being a punk. It's not about being walked on or sorry. It's about doing the right thing at the right time to support your destiny. And in doing that, what that also means is finding, following, and fulfilling your destiny. I said that the Irumole, I got this from, I got this quote from, I believe it was Iya Nifa Monife. Respect to her. She said this years ago. I believe it was her who said it. The Orisha don't make you, they don't make the world better for you, they make you better for the world. What does that mean? It means that when we are doing the work that we're doing, that the Orisha, the Irumole, they support us by giving us advices to, if not remove the problem, to put our minds, our bodies, our spirits in a space to where if the problem shows up, the problem will then be insignificant to us. How is that? My father always told me, Robert Evans always told me, that no one can make you angry. No one can make you angry. They can't just, okay, let me put the mix together and then make you angry. No one can make you angry. It is you who chooses to be angry. No one can make you happy. It is you who chooses to be happy. So when we look at things in that respect, the other issue is this life is about making choices. This life is about every day, what do you choose to do? Every day, do you wake up and you choose to be depressed? Do you choose to have anxiety? Do you choose to live in fear? Or do you choose joy? We're presented with each of these choices every day. Which way do we want to go? And the Orisha, the Irumole, they're there to support us. But the other aspect is you. You got to choose joy. You have to choose prosperity. You have to choose sanity. You have to choose healing every day. You have to choose love. I remember a singer, Carl Thomas. I remember they asked him, what does it mean to be in love? And he made the most important statement. He said, being in love is conscious choices. Deep, right? Not so deep. What does that mean? If you want the relationship that you say you want, and you want to nurture that relationship, every day means conscious choices. I'm going to choose you every day. I'm going to choose us every day. I'm going to choose me every day. I'm going to choose healing and nurturing each other, because that's what it takes in a relationship. It doesn't mean the husband doesn't do what he needs to do. It means he does what he does. And it means the wife does what she does. They work 110% towards each other. What does that mean? That 110% means that they have to not only meet in the middle, but press into each other. It's conscious choices. Every day is about making a choice. So when I say that, what do you choose today? What are we choosing today? Are we choosing to be guided by negative emotions, things that challenge us, things that make us triggered? Or are we choosing to elevate and have the destiny that Olodumare has mandated for us? I always say that people are picked by Olodumare to win. And aside from that, the other thing is I wish we could see ourselves in the way that Olodumare sees us, because we have so many horrible ways of looking at ourselves every morning. Every day we look at ourselves in ways that are not conducive for our own progress. So what would happen if we look at ourselves, if we saw ourselves in the way that Olodumare sees us? What would happen if we saw ourselves with the success or the blessing that Olodumare said, this is your destiny to have? So within that, everybody is not destined to be a millionaire. Everyone is not destined to have 4 or 5 cars. The issue here is when we are in the marketplace of the world, and in particular in the marketplace of the world in America, one thing that we need to do as folks who practice an African spiritual tradition is we need to totally change our mind and our concept of what success is. Because the definitions of success in this world, the definitions of love in this world, the definitions of a relationship in this world are not congruent to our destiny. The things that we see on television, that don't fit. It doesn't fit for us in terms of if you want to have success, if you want to live a healthy life, if you want to live cancer free, if you want to live diabetes free, if you want to live with an elevated emotion. The aspects of what the world tells us is a relationship that does not work for us. We have to totally reinvent our idea of what success is, because America literally has conditioned us to think, for example, America, what's the regular American diet? Eggs, bacon, toast. And that's the general American diet every day. Do you know if you eat eggs, bacon, toast every day for 40 years, then diabetes is a natural progression. Colon polyps is a natural progression. Challenges are a natural progression. But that is the definition of what we see in the world. That is the way the world tells us. McDonald's, Jack in the Box, all these places tell us, eat this, do that. And that is our conditioning in the world. We have to transform the way we look at ourselves, the way we see ourselves and the way we see the world. We have to change our definition of what success is, of what living a healthy life is, of living a happy life is. We have to transform that. So in terms of that, what does Ifa say? What does Ifa say about living a healthy life or having good character being beautiful? Well, this concept is called Omoluabi. So Omoluabi is somewhat simple, but there are some philosophical issues associated with it. When we talk about Omoluabi, the other thing is Omoluabi is like Eneyang Gidi. This is the great and fully actualized person. Omoluabi, simply broken down, means Omo Ti Olu Iwabi, and that means a child begotten of the chief of good character. A child born of the chief of Iwa. So that is in essence what Omo Luabi is. When we look at Omo Luabi, we can also relate the concept of what that means to the American legal system. When we look at the American legal system, what do they say? Would a reasonable person do this? Would a reasonable person jump out of a car and use a firearm and spray the block? Would that be the actions of a reasonable person? And we know that's not the actions of a reasonable person. Now, let's shift the language. Would those be the actions of a child or a person begotten of the chief of good character? Would that be the actions of Omoluabi? We already know it is not. So as we look at this concept of being Omoluabi, I want to give us specific attributes. These are not by a long shot all of the attributes that it takes to be Omoluabi. But fitting into these things supports us in actualizing our life. So when I say that, some of these Ifa verses that I want to chant are going to be viewed as somewhat controversial because here in the world says if someone steps on your toe, if someone offends you, you react in. You tell them no, you get in their face like they got in your face. And it is seen as a sign of weakness to either walk away or do something different. So Ifa says, first of all, as people who want to be looked at as Omoluabi, we should be very slow to anger. And we should be patient. And we should have the ability to absorb insult on some level. Ifa says in the Odu Otura Amosum, all Babalawo are characterized as being cowards. All prominent Onishegun or herbalists are characterized by their stubbornness. It is the stubbornness of the Onishegun herbalist that prevents them from knowing that war is at hand. It takes a prominent Babalawo to tell them so. This was the Ifa cast for Edo Amona when he was going on Ifa mission to Olupa Alailu. He was advised to offer a bow to stop uprising and chaos. So I'm sure everyone in the room and on the internet is like, oh my God, a Babalawo is supposed to be a coward. So the thing of it is this. One thing that we often do is we look at what Ifa says and we don't understand what is being said is not as important as what is meant. What does Ifa mean by that? So first of all Babalawo are characterized for behaving like cowards. So when we talk about that, what that means is I remember when I was younger and I would get into situations where folks would be like, get in my face and be ready to fight and this and that. And then, if you walk away, you're considered a punk. Right? That's a general situation. You walk away and it's like, he's a sucker. In terms of that aspect of walking away, Ifa does not say that you should be abused. What Ifa means is don't go headlong into a fight without understanding the situation. It is unnecessary to take every fight that is presented to you. Know when to fight and know when to walk away. But deeper than that, let's talk about what it means to have good character. Having good character is the currency in which the Irumole support us. What I mean by that, that's the money in the bank. So if Ifa is saying that an Awo should, the behavior is looking like that of a coward, what's that saying? That's saying that it's bigger than you. It's saying that there are forces involved in this situation that are even greater than you. What does that also mean? That means watch out when I walk away. Ashe, I don't hear no Ashe to that. Watch out when I walk away. Watch out when an Awo says, Ashe, and you spit in an Awo's face, Ashe, and that Awo walks away. Why? You could die. Spirit will literally take you out. If I take my hands completely off the situation, Olodumare and all the Irumole are like, oh, you are offending me. You are offending my child. You are offending a part of me. Why should you be here? That's real. Okay. And that's the scary part of what we're doing. On another level, what Ifa is also saying here is that a Babalao should not worry about what people think about them. What does that mean? I remember going through a great, terrible challenge, and everybody was like, man, you need to do this and that. You need to get this person out of there. You need to kick them out. You need to do this and that. And every time I went to cast Ifa was like, be patient. I got it. Do we have the fortitude to just sit there and be like, all right, this situation is pressing, and Ifa is saying, hold up, I got it. Don't worry. I got you. I got you. Don't trip. Don't trip, though. Don't trip. Wait a minute. When Ifa is saying that to us, oftentimes it gets super challenging. That ability to wait it out is very difficult, very hard for us to do. But we have to be able to trust what Ifa is saying. Because in the end, the situation that I was in, Ifa literally had it. And if I had played into my ego in any way, I would have ruined it. I would have ruined the situation. I would have ruined my own success if I got in the middle of it. If I took it completely personally. That's what Ifa's saying. Sometimes you have to be patient and you have to wait it out. Also, Ifa says that when we're practicing and trying to live a life like Omoluabi, we need to have the ability to follow taboo and not to be arrogant. Ifa says in the Odu, Oworin Elegibo, it can be done. It is here where he lives. It cannot be done. It is here where he lives. If we do it, what will be the consequences at the boundary of heaven? This was the Ifa cast for the son of Elegibo when he was going to enter into levirate marriage with his own mother. He was advised to offer a bow. He refused to comply. He insisted on doing it. Now, why did you engage in such a wrong act? Oworin Elegibo, why did you engage in this wrong act? On this, Ifa is talking basically about taboo. Taboo can be as poisonous as the process of an individual entering into a levirate marriage with their mother. What does that mean? Levirate basically is the aspect of when the father dies or a brother dies and the brother-in-law is obligated to marry the wife of the brother. So the son decided, well, since my father died, I'm going to marry my mom. And when he was advised, hey, this is something that you should not embark on, he didn't listen. He went on ahead and did what it was clear that he shouldn't do. Ifa said, very shortly thereafter, that led to the death of the son of Elejibo. So when we see this idea of taboo, taboo is really the thing that takes people out. We talked about it before. When we think about the aspect of Iku, Iku is merely a force that is around. And when we act a certain way, we put ourselves in the jeopardy of Iku. We put ourselves within the realm of death by breaking taboo or doing something taboo. I was telling Tandi the other day, taboo defends itself. Taboo defends itself. There's no, you say, well, shoot, if I said I shouldn't do this, it's taboo and it could lead to my illness or the end of life. But I like it. I like it so much. I know some people who their taboo is chicken, and they're like, I love chicken. I love fried chicken. They love fried chicken to the point where it made them think, well, maybe Ifa's wrong on this. Maybe Ifa ain't. Ifa was wrong, and Ifa was right about everything else, but it was wrong about this chicken taboo. Ashe, wrong about this chicken taboo. This chicken taboo, man, me and chicken been friends. Me and the yard bird been friends since birth. So in consuming that thing which is taboo, taboo is spiritual poison. And it is not death that kills. In actuality, it is taboo that kills people. Ifa also says that an Omoluabi person not only should follow these taboos, their own taboos, but what they should also do is have a level of respect for God and a level of general respect for humans and a level of humility. What does it mean to be humble? Ifa says in Eroson Abola, he who behaves gently shall die gently. He who behaves violently shall die violently. We must exhibit meekness of character in order for our children to be able to lay us to rest. This was the Ifa cast for Alola, and the same was cast for Aroni. When we look at this verse of Iroso Ambola, Ifa is actually saying that I remember what my grandmother, Lucille Daniels Murray, used to say. She used to say, so you live, so you die. So you live, so you die. If you live a life where you don't listen to anybody's warning, where you honestly don't care about any level of authority, the world will teach you. As I said, taboo defends itself. The world will demonstrate to you that you are not bigger and greater than it when you decide to move upstream. The more we tend to act without any level of humility, without any level of conscience, the world will literally teach you hard lessons. I say a lot of times the best of us came from a word. The rest of us came from a whooping. What does that mean? It is better to be just told, hey, you might not want to do that. You don't have to be told, fire burns. But there are some individuals who have to say, well, you know what? I want to experience it. I want to see if you are right or not. These are individuals who have to hit the brick wall. But the sad thing about it is sometimes in today's society, when you hit that brick wall, it will shatter you. At times, what we need to do is help to insulate people so that when they make foolish choices, that those choices don't mean their demise. Ifa also says that in this process, we need to be dedicated. We need to have an element of hardworkingness and a level of resilience. We should not give up. These are also characteristics of Omoluabi. Ifa says in the Odu, Irete Olota. We live in two separate areas. Your home and my home are not the same. Had they been in the same place, I would have followed you and gone to your own home. This was the Ifa cast for Biola when he was going to take Oromila on as his teacher. He was advised to offer a bow. He complied. Now, the movement of our father is like that of an ant. If you cannot follow an ant, then you cannot follow Edu. The movement of our father, Oromila, is like that of an ant. What does this mean? What do ants do? What do ants do? Ants not only build, but if there's an obstacle in their place, they walk around it. When ants move, they don't move fast. They move in a consistent, steady pace. They don't give up. I remember I was in Belize, and in Belize, there would be these army ants that would be probably the length of your fingernail. And these army ants, what they would do, they would line up and almost like a mile long. And anything that got into their way, they would just walk over it. Like literally just, if you were standing in the way, they would climb up you and climb up your front and climb down your back in a line, in unison. If this house was in the way, you would see a black line just pass over the house from the front to the back. And they would just keep going. If somebody accidentally stepped on one of those army ants, they all kept moving. What does this mean? Ifa is saying that we have to keep moving. We have to keep going. We cannot just say, I'm giving up. This mountain is too high. Or it's too hard to study. You know, I've had so many people say, well, it's hard for me to memorize Eboriru. It's hard for me to get this. Every day, consistent work, you will achieve the goal. And it's monotonous. It's boring. It's not always exciting or fun. Sometimes the stuff that we need to do, it takes time. And it takes consistent devotion. Kind of like Orisha work. Kind of like every morning when you wake up, what should you do? You should pray. Sometimes you need to be praying every day consistently in order to transform the problem at hand. And last, Ifa says we need to have hope. This comes from the Odu Obar Egutan. Ifa says, I reap benefits at home. I also reap benefits in the farm. This was the Ifa cast for Aking Sami, the offspring of Akoro Aga, when he was setting deadfall traps to no avail. He was advised to offer a bow. He complied. Now, his front trap caught 20 animals. His back trap caught 30 animals. His middle trap caught 50 animals. He reached up to grab a creeper plant, and 16 land snails fell at his feet. He looked up in the sky to exclaim, and honey fell into his mouth. He went home, and his wife had given birth to a set of twins. He exclaimed, my life is as affirmed as that of the Alafin. So this is the story of Akin Sami. And what ended up happening is he was poor. He was broke. He didn't have all the things that he wanted in life. And he added some money together because he wanted to see what Ifa had to say. He cast Ifa, and Ifa gave the Odu Obar Egutan. When Ifa gave this Odu, he was given an abo to perform. And Akinsami, he did the abo. But along with doing that abo, Ifa said, the Babalawo also said, you need to have hope. Imagine that. Let's take a pause in telling this story. Imagine if every abo we offer, we take our hands off of it, and all we do is apply hope. What do you think will occur? We apply a level of not a thought of will it happen or is Ifa right, but I expect this to happen. I expect the success that Ifa said will come from me. I expect it. What would happen if we had a mindset of expectation and knowing as opposed to thinking and figuring? I expect Ifa to do what Ifa said. When we offer a bow, there's a part where the Babalawo chants, I pray for this abo to be accepted. I pray for this abo to meet with approval. They asked me how I knew it to be so. I said that is exactly how you are, Ifa. That is what we are saying when we say, Ifa, 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 when we are saying those words as we're doing Aboriru, that is the translation. I pray for this abo to be accepted. I pray for this abo to meet with approval. I pray for this abo to reach heaven. They asked me how I knew this was to be so. I said that is exactly how you are, Father. What we're doing, forget the idea of I'm thinking, I'm contemplating, this might be. No, I know this is going to work. I know I'm doing the right thing, period. Having that mindset. So Akin Sami applied hope. And when he applied his little bit of hope to the situation, things transformed. But it didn't transform overnight. It took a couple of weeks. It took a couple of weeks of him going out to those traps and the traps being empty, going home empty-handed, trying to figure a way out of no way. It took some time of that. And on this Odu, Ifa says, on Abar Egutan, one day, on one day, everything that you want to happen will occur. One faithful day will open the door to all possibilities. On one day, everything that you need, the beginnings of it will happen. You might not get the job, but you're gonna get the call. You might not get the money, but you're gonna get the check. Ifa says on one day that will occur on that Odu. So the one day comes. Akin Sami had not given up hope. He went to the forest and then he looked and he found his first trap. He was like, oh man, that's got 20 animals. Yeah. All right. Then he looked, oh man, the back trap has 30. And they looked at the middle trap and it had 50. So then he reaches up to get like a creeper plant, like a vine, to tie the animals up. So he reaches up, grabs a creeper plant. As soon as he grabs it, 16 snails fall. Now, out here, snails don't mean anything. But there, back home, in Nigeria, snails, that's money. That's some money. You can sell those snails. So we got 16 land snails. He had 50 animals that he had caught in traps. So then he was like, yes, he looked up in the sky to, exclaim. And as he looked up, a honeycomb fell over and dropped honey into his mouth. And he was like, oh man, that's honey. I can sell that. He can take that honeycomb and sell it. And then he took all of that home, happy. I'm sure when King Samuel was walking home, he was strutting. And as soon as he reached home, he had been gone so long, his wife had relayed the news that her pregnancy had resulted in twins. Now, here in America, twins mean twins. But in traditional society, twins mean wealth. Twins mean abundance. When we look at twins, twins are like walking orishas. So the twins had come. And so I imagine King Samuel was walking around the house, strutting, yelling like, I am the king. The Alafin means the king. So he said that my life is affirmed as that of the Alafin. So he was saying, I'm the king, I'm the king. And what happens when stuff like that happens? What happens when you rejoice? There's some good people, and then there's some haters. Sometimes you might not want to rejoice in public. Sometimes you might not want to put your business out on social media. Sometimes you might not want to tell everybody in the whole world, this is what I got blessed with. This is my whole blessing, because there's some folks in the crowd that's be like, they don't deserve that. And so King Samuel, he said these things, and there are some haters in the crowd. He had some hater neighbors. Some of us got some hater neighbors. Some of us got some hater relatives. And what happened when he started saying, I'm the king? Somebody said, I'm going to tell the king that King Samuel said that he's the king. Ain't that some hater stuff? That's some hater stuff. They went and snitched on him with the king. Wasn't even snitching. They tattletaled a lie to the king. And what does that constitute if you say you're the king, but you're not the king? That's treason, punishable by death. So the king sent an order out for King Samuel to be arrested. He got arrested. They snatched him up, brought him in, and they put him basically on death row. So imagine that you go from basically winning the lottery to having nothing, to death row. And then in that moment in time, remember, Ifa said, you were supposed to have these things and that thing and all of those things. But now you got them. But then the flip side is now you're in prison. Now you're on death row. Now the gun barrel is at your head. And you sitting back thinking like, man, if I said, he said, what a time to have hope. What a time to have hope. Ifa is really meaning that the time to have hope is when the situation is absolutely hopeless. Ifa says that is the time in which you need to have hope. So shortly thereafter, King Samuel, he had court where he got a chance to answer to the king. And the king said, so you're the king? He said, I'm not the king. I merely said that I felt like the king. King, you have a great life. You have everything actualized for you. You have all the good things in the world. What happened to me is that maybe you don't know my struggle, Oba. Maybe you don't know my struggle. I will tell you my struggle. My struggle is I went for years with nothing. I came from the dirt. And one day all my prayers were answered. Have you ever had a day when every one of your prayers were answered? One day, after not catching anything for weeks, months, I caught 100 animals. 16 land snails fell at my feet. Honey dripped from the proverbial sky. I got a honeycomb. And then when I went home, my wife had given birth to a set of twins, man. What would you say? What would you say about yourself? What would you feel? How would you feel? And the king was so touched that he himself said, Ashe, do not let us not sentence this man.
Ashe.
Let me give him a parcel of land.
Ashe.
Let me give him part of the kingdom, because I too want to be blessed like you.
Ashe.
What we want to do as people who are Omoluabi, we want to live a life so delicious, so great, that your haters will even say, man, what are you doing? What can I do to get that? Man, we've been hating on you for so long. We've been doing all this crap to you, and you still here. What can I do to have that attitude? They say, grind till your haters ask for a job. Grind till your success in essence will be your revenge. There's no need to go on and take your revenge out on a person who's wronged you. All you need to do is be great. I mean, but when I say be great, I mean, you don't know my story. You haven't been where I've been. Like, I've had haters. I know some haters. I know what witchcraft looks like. I know what people who want to destroy you feels like. But by the grace of Olodumare, I can say, I kept pressing on. And by continuing to press on, continuing to move forward, continuing to devote my life to Ifa, my life or your life will then become the testament. Your life will then become the barometer for other people's to measure their own success. Your life will become the revenge. What Cat Williams say? Have you ever had a person look at you with that I just caught the stomach virus look? Like, they sit back and look at you like, well, how you just gonna walk in here smiling? All the stuff we done did to you. Oh, I'm not telling them. That is what it means to be Omoluapi. That is what it means. It is not about being weak. Having good character is not about being a punk. There are times when you need to fight, but there are also times when you need to chill out and keep your mouth shut and look at it from a bird's eye view. So I say, let us choose to live a life like Omoluabi and exhibit more patience, more adherence to taboo and lack of arrogance, more humility, more dedication, and last of all, more hope. Abora boy. Thank you all so much for listening. All right. So with that, I want to make a couple of announcements. So number one, as members of Idinkai Ifa Temple, we have just cast our Itadogun. We cast Itadogun yesterday. The Itadogun Odu that we received. Trying to remember exactly what Odu that we got, but we cast our Itadogun Odu yesterday. And in terms of that Ifa that we received, there is Ebo that is attached to it. We got, how could I forget? The Odu that we got is the same Odu as our illustrious Oluo, Osa Lesun, Osa on the right, Hirosun on the left. Osalesu. That was the Odu. So Ifa says in so many words that we will be great and successful, but there will be others that will be envious of that, and they will also people will want to kind of tap on to our success and our elevation. So we will offer a bow. So those of you who would like to offer a bow, please, please, please go to idinkaifatemple.com, and we have a space there where you can put in the amount. So it's typically $40, but that's we can accept less, and we can also accept more. So it's all up to you. We're going to be offering the Tadogun bow by Thursday of next week. Also, it is Odun Ifa. The Odun Ifa has passed, or it has happened for us. The Odun Ifa out of Ado Ekiti, which is the home of Orunmila, the home of Eshu, the home of many of the Irumole here on earth. It happened there, and the pilgrimage was there. It happened pretty much the last week of May is when the Odun Ifa happened. The Odu that we were blessed with was the Odu Ifa, which is Ofun Iwori. Ofungando, excuse me. That's the other name, the nickname for it. So I want to share with you one verse from that Ifa at this time and give you the message from it. Ifa says, Ofun Dodo and Iwori Dodo, they cast Ifa for Oba Olubi Obori Okun, who would ruin the whole community because of one rooster. He was advised to offer a bow. He complied before long, not too far, join us in the midst of victory over enemies. What Ifa says for Ifa followers this year is that we will have victory over our enemies.
Okay.
In terms of this, Ifa is saying that Olodumare himself has seen the suffering of so many of us, seen the suffering of so many of our communities, and these actions are actions that are coming from many people who are in leadership positions, and these leaders have been oppressive.
Okay.
And Ifa says that if we are the victims and we are in a weakened position, which we are, that Olodumare will be the one to fight our battles.
Okay.
Ifa will fight our battles. The divinities, literally, Shango, will fight our battles against these negative leaders, against these negative problems. So if we find ourselves in an oppressed position, so this is for the world, this is for our communities, our culture. You find ourselves in these positions where the leadership and the world has put us in a bad position. Ifa is saying that we will be vindicated this year. Along with that, Ifa says that those who are leaders, we as leaders, need to do things to protect ourselves, because when it comes down, it's coming down. So there are many leaders who are doing things that are only contributing to the pandemonium, to the lies, to the problems, to the bloodshed. And we as leaders cannot contribute into that. We must protect ourselves by doing what is right.
Okay.
So Ifa has so many powerful messages for us. We come in the array of longevity this year. So we'll have a community event. I believe it is coming up on June 27th. So that is when the Odun Ifa is. And also another announcement is Idinka Ifa Temple and I believe Ile Ayo Temple. We're going to work together. Last year, we did an event as my family. We did an event for Juneteenth around negative police brutality, the problems literally in the world with the COVID situation. And we want to do something for Juneteenth. June 19th is going to be on a Saturday to commemorate that event and also to push through the negative energy of white supremacy that has in essence plagued us. And we can't mince words. We can't just sit back and be like, oh well, these negative situations. No, you call it what it is. You know what it is. We know what it is. We cannot sit here and lie to ourselves that that there are forces that are trying to destroy members of our communities as Black and brown people. It's true. It's a fact. African people here in the United States were enslaved, captured from the continent of Africa, brought here forcibly. That happened. It really did happen. And there is an effect of it. This is true. This is not political. This is historical fact. And as a result of that, we must contend with the effects of negative forces, one of those forces being white supremacy. So we're going to do that. Juneteenth, if you know the history, Juneteenth, when African people in this country were manumitted from slavery. I say manumitted because we were not freed. So when African people were manumitted from slavery, there were areas in the continental United States where the information didn't reach. And when it finally reached the whole United States, so what is that saying? There are folks who intentionally kept it from African people. Intentionally. So that's real. And when it finally reached, I believe it was, the location was in Texas, where it finally permeated and touched that area on June 19th. That became one of our holy days as African people. Thank you so much, Taylor. Galveston, Texas. Thank you. Thank you. So when it touched Galveston, African folks were able to say, okay, we're finally manumitted. So we celebrate that day. So we'll be celebrating and we'll be feeding Irumole and Orisha that support us in being strong and standing up and protecting us from the negative effects that still exist, because they do. So we're going to be doing that this coming June 19th. So stay tuned for a flyer and announcement. So also, if you all would like to give any donations, please feel free. All the information is on the board there. And we thank you so much for tuning in. Our next temple service will be, I believe, on June 20th. And that is going to be Father's Day. So we look forward to doing that. We're going to talk about the strength and the power of men who have good character and the faith of our fathers. So we look forward to doing that. So thank you all for tuning in. Before we end, I want to pray. Olodumare, we ask you to completely assist us, to help us to elevate. Help us to choose to be great. Help us to see ourselves in the way that you see us. Help us to be Omoluabi. Help us to stand up in the world and be great and be counted and be elevated. Protect us this week from the challenges of this world. Protect us this week so that we too can say that we are children begotten of the chief of good character. Aboru, Aboye, Aboshishe. Thank you all so much. Thank you all so much. We look forward to seeing you next time. Let's rock out. The world is a family. Ashe, Aboru, Aboye. Thank you all so much. Really?
Had to get in there.
Really? You
Had
just
to
had
get in
to?
there. Had to get in there.
You just had to jump in, huh? Ho, ho, ho. that look for, man? Say hi. They see this. They see all this.
Hey, everybody.
Let's say hi.
Hi.
This is Zayden.
We share the same blood. We share the same need.
You know,